Warning seniors. These 5 people are silently destroying your peace in old age. How to cut them out without guilt. Do you believe you should be kind to everyone no matter what? Even now, in your golden years? Here's a harsh truth you need to hear. At a certain age, your time, your energy, and your precious peace are no longer commodities to be handed out freely to just anyone. The older you get, the more crucial it becomes to understand that kindness, unchecked, can become a dangerous trap. There are people in your life, yes, even those close to you, who will thrive on your generosity, exploit your patience, and silently drain your spirit. The longer you allow them access, the more they will take, leaving you empty and resentful. This video isn't about shunning strangers. It's about identifying the 5 specific types of people who, often disguised as loved ones or longtime acquaintances, are silently sabotaging your peace and happiness. These are individuals who might sit across from you at family dinners, live next door, or call themselves friends. But their ingrained patterns of behavior can wear you down in ways you don't even see coming. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who to watch out for, understand why their presence is so detrimental, and, most importantly, learn how to protect your emotional health without an ounce of guilt or apology. Because your later years aren't for fixing other people. They're for fiercely safeguarding what's left of your precious peace. Let's get started. Person number 1, the constant taker. One of the clearest, most painful signs that someone doesn't deserve your precious kindness anymore is when they only show up with their hand out. You know the type. When they call, it's never just to check in, share a laugh, or see how you're doing. It's always to ask for something. A favor, a ride, a loan, your time, your emotional labor. And they always seem to need it urgently. Now, think about someone like Gloria, aged 71, who's always been the go-to person for everyone in her family. Need a last-minute babysitter? Call Gloria. Need someone to watch your dog during vacation? Gloria won't say no. But over time, she began to realize something chilling. When her own birthday came around, the phone stayed quiet. When she was sick for a week, no one dropped off soup or even sent a simple message of concern. That's when it hit her. The relationships weren't mutual. She was the giver always, and the giving never ever came back. There's a strange, lingering guilt we carry when we consider pulling back from people like this, especially if they're family. We tell ourselves that being needed is a good thing, that saying no is selfish, that maybe next time they'll finally notice how much we do. But here's the brutal truth. If someone only values you when you're useful, then they don't truly value you at all. To them, you're not a person. You're a service. And the older you get, the more dangerous that becomes. Why? Because your resources, your time, your energy, even your physical strength, are not unlimited anymore. Giving them freely to someone who only takes is like pouring water into a cup with a gaping hole at the bottom. You are absolutely allowed to say no without explanation. You are absolutely allowed to set firm boundaries. You are absolutely allowed to protect what little quiet and strength you still have for people who truly care, people who reciprocate. And if someone walks away because you stop saying yes every single time, that tells you everything you need to know. You were never genuinely loved. You were just convenient. Don't let kindness become a crushing burden. Don't let generosity become an unbreakable chain. Because in these years, every precious moment you give should be one that feeds you back in return. Person number 2, the chronic critic. There's a special kind of bone-deep weariness that comes from spending time with someone who always, relentlessly, points out what's wrong. With your clothes, with your choices, with your past, with your very existence. These people don't shout or curse, but their words sting just the same, because they're delivered in small, steady, corrosive doses. And over time, they will relentlessly wear you down. Picture someone like Raymond, aged 82, who visits his cousin every Sunday. He faithfully brings fresh bread, checks in on the house, tries to stay connected. And every single time, his cousin finds something to criticize. Your hair looks different. Why'd you sell that old chair? You always take things too personally. At first, Raymond smiled through it, told himself it was harmless. But after years of those visits, he started feeling smaller, doubted his choices more, and lost the simple joy he once felt walking up to that porch. The danger of chronic criticism isn't just in the words themselves. It's in the slow, agonizing erosion of your self-trust. These people cunningly mask their cruelty as concern. They say they're just being honest, just helping you improve. But what they're truly doing is chipping away at your peace, one subtle, toxic comment at a time. And when you let that go unchecked, something precious inside you starts to shrink. You stop sharing your joys. You stop trying new things. You start to brace yourself before every conversation, wondering what perceived flaw they'll pick apart next. At this age, you have unequivocally earned the right to feel safe and confident in your own skin. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to please. You don't need to explain why you like what you like or live how you live. If someone consistently leaves you feeling wrong, small, or broken, you owe it to yourself to stop handing them a front row seat to your life. Being kind doesn't mean being available for abuse, no matter how politely it's packaged. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can possibly do for yourself is to step back and declare, "I'm done letting you rewrite my story in your voice." If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Person number 3, the guilt tripper. There's a uniquely heavy weight that comes from being around someone who expertly knows how to twist every situation to make you feel like the villain. They don't yell. They don't argue. They simply look at you a certain way, drop a few carefully chosen words, and suddenly you're questioning whether you've done enough, whether you're good enough, whether you've failed them somehow. These are the guilt trippers, and they can be some of the most emotionally draining people to keep in your life, especially as you grow older. Take Margaret, aged 79, who lives on her own and tries to stay involved in her extended family's lives. Her niece only calls when she needs a favor, and when Margaret gently, politely says no, she's met with icy silence. Or worse, passive-aggressive comments like, "I guess I just thought family would be there for me." Margaret isn't saying no out of spite. She's tired. She's protecting her limited time and energy. But guilt doesn't care. It sneaks in and sits beside her all evening, whispering that maybe she really is being selfish. What makes guilt trippers so incredibly difficult is that they often cleverly use your best qualities against you. Your loyalty, your empathy, your deep sense of duty. They manipulate you into feeling like pulling back is an act of cruelty, when in reality, it's the only way for you to emotionally survive. And over time, their emotional manipulation can become an insidious pattern that's hard to spot, until you notice that you're constantly apologizing, constantly over-explaining, constantly giving more than you're comfortable with, just to avoid the cold shoulder or the passive-aggressive silence that follows any boundary you try to set. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't have to explain every no. You don't have to trade your comfort for their temporary approval. If someone can't genuinely love and respect you unless you're constantly bending over backwards for them, that's not love. That's leverage. And you, in your golden years, are not a tool. You are not a caretaker of someone else's emotional wounds just because you're older and they perceive you have more time. Your heart isn't a doormat. And guilt should never be the price you pay for saying what you need. The next time someone tries to guilt you for drawing a line, let that be your signal not to bend, but to step even further back. Because peace isn't something you ask for, it's something you courageously protect. Person number 4, the secret competitor. Not every enemy shows their face with open hostility. Some wear a disarming smile, offer seemingly kind words, and even pretend to cheer you on. But underneath, there's something else brewing. A quiet, persistent, soul-draining competition. These are the secret competitors. People who don't just want to succeed themselves, but want to make sure you don't shine too brightly beside them. You might know someone like Helen, aged 76, who bravely joined a local art class after years of putting her creativity on hold. She was nervous but immensely proud of herself for stepping out again. Her longtime friend, Judy, joined too, saying she wanted to support her. But week after week, Judy would find subtle ways to undercut Helen. Your piece is interesting, very bold for your age. Or, I love how carefree yours looks. I guess technique isn't everything. On the surface, it sounded friendly, but to Helen, it subtly chipped away at her confidence until she started wondering whether she even belonged there at all. Secret competitors don't attack directly. They use comparison like a scalpel, quiet, sharp, and hard to trace. They always seem to have a slightly better story, a more exciting trip, a bigger compliment from someone you both know. And when you're around them, you never feel fully celebrated, just tolerated or worse, minimized. The danger here isn't just what they say. It's how it makes you shrink. You stop sharing your wins. You second-guess your growth. You learn to dim your light so theirs feels brighter. And that's not friendship. That's rivalry disguised as closeness. In older age, you don't need to compete with anyone. You've survived too much, lost too much, and built too much to waste precious energy on comparisons that don't serve your well-being. If someone around you can't genuinely clap when you win, or can only clap louder when they've outdone you, step back. You deserve to be around people who feel like a warm, supportive fire, not a cold, relentless scoreboard. Real friends lift you, celebrate you, and inspire you to keep going, not make you question why you even started. And the older you get, the more precious that kind of authentic support becomes. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Person number 5, the passive-aggressive manipulator. Some people don't yell. They don't argue. They don't confront. Instead, they master the insidious art of silence, cutting sarcasm, and subtle digs that leave you wondering whether you're completely overreacting. These are the passive-aggressive manipulators, and they are especially dangerous in older age because their behavior can slip under your radar while quietly, persistently exhausting your spirit. Think of someone like Harold, aged 83, who's lived in the same neighborhood for decades. His neighbor, Doug, always smiles and waves. But when Harold brings up needing help with something small, like moving a planter or lifting a heavy box, Doug chuckles and says things like, "Guess you're finally slowing down, huh?" Or, "I'd offer, but I've got 2 knees that still work, and I'd like to keep them that way." He doesn't refuse outright. He just hides the sting in a joke, and Harold is left standing there, unsure whether he's been insulted or just callously dismissed. Passive-aggressive people play by different rules. They cleverly avoid direct responsibility by pretending they didn't mean what they said. They leave messages unanswered. They cancel plans without explanation. And then, if you dare to bring it up, they flip the script, accusing you of being sensitive, dramatic, or difficult. Over time, this relentlessly wears you down. You start walking on eggshells, desperately trying to avoid setting them off. You tell yourself it's not worth the fuss. But it is. Because the longer you stay in that dynamic, the more you start silencing your own legitimate needs just to maintain a peace that never really existed in the first place. At this crucial stage in life, peace isn't a luxury. It's an absolute requirement. And anyone who consistently disrupts it with emotional games is not someone you need to keep close. You don't have to respond to every subtle slight. You don't have to teach them how to treat you. You simply step back, make space, and reclaim the quiet they kept stirring up. Because the truth is, a smile without sincerity is just a mask. And you've lived far too long to keep accepting counterfeit kindness. Let your final chapters be filled with people who mean what they say and say what they mean. Anything less is noise, and you profoundly deserve better. Final thoughts. Reclaim your peace, define your legacy. Now that you've heard about these 5 types of people, take a profound moment to check in with yourself. Are any of them sitting too close in your life? Are you still offering your precious time, your dwindling patience, or your vital energy to people who only take, only tear down, only twist your good intentions into crushing obligations? The truth is, the older you get, the more incredibly valuable your peace becomes. You've carried people. You've forgiven more than you should have. You've kept silent to avoid stirring up conflict. But you don't have to keep doing that. Not anymore. These years aren't about enduring toxic patterns. They're about courageously clearing them out. You have the absolute right to protect your sacred space. You have the right to choose who gets access to your heart, your time, your living room, and your phone. Being kind doesn't mean being perpetually available to people who leave you drained and exhausted. It doesn't mean putting their comfort above your sanity. It means choosing compassion with unwavering boundaries, warmth with profound wisdom. And if that means bravely walking away from someone who's been in your life for years, so be it. Sometimes, the greatest act of kindness is the one you courageously give yourself by finally saying, enough. So, if any part of today's powerful message spoke to you, don't let it slip away. Reflect on it. Write it down. Make the conscious, resolute choice to stop handing out pieces of yourself to people who never give anything genuine back. Because your later years aren't just about surviving. They're about healing, growing, and surrounding yourself with people who truly, authentically see and cherish you. And that starts with letting go of those who never did. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one type of person you're ready to set a stronger boundary with, starting today. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.